Hey guys, so I wanted to give you guys my brief opinion on the State of the Union address. I apologize for not doing an actual video and just doing audio, but I will be back with a new episode on Friday. There's been a lot that's transpired in the political world. I mean, crazy stuff happening with Bernie Sanders in this election, new attacks from Hillary Clinton, so I will cover all of this throughout next week once I film Friday's episode. But for now, let's just focus on the State of the Union address. So overall, Obama said things that I liked for the most part. I greatly disliked, his propagandish push for the TPP because he displayed an image that kind of stated some quote facts about the TPP, which are lies. But nonetheless, I mean, everything else, it's what's to be expected, right? I mean, he didn't do anything new to me. He didn't do anything really to wow me. I mean, everything that he's done this time, he's done at one other point. So, I mean, to call out the deniers of climate change, of course, that's brilliant. To state that, we need to protect our children from getting gunned down at schools, of course, I expected that. I agree with it. I love it. Now, of course, part of the State of the Union address is to kind of boast about your numbers, boast about the state of the economy, and Barack Obama did just that. So, I mean, we have some great numbers. I mean, he cut the deficit by almost 2/3. Unemployment has been cut in half. I mean, it's just really, really great things. However, when I kind of look back and reflect on his presidency as a progressive, as someone who voted for him, it was my first time voting. I was finally old enough to vote, and I chose Barack Obama. And I feel betrayed. I feel as though his presidency, while I think he's the best president since Jimmy Carter, perhaps one of the most charismatic presidents ever, I'm still really disappointed. I can't help but feel betrayed because all the hope, all the change that he promised, I don't think it really came to fruition. It did in certain types of areas, right? So when it comes to LGBT rights, I mean, he's the best president ever. I mean, he has done what I didn't think could be possible. I mean, he facilitated the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We saw DOMA as well as Supreme Court. We saw DOMA go down, that is, and we saw the Supreme Court find a constitutional right for nationwide marriage equality. These aren't necessarily things that Obama directly controlled, but I think that he had an inadvertent impact on it just because, the president has that bully pulpit. What they say has a lot of leeway, so he became the first sitting president in 2012 to endorse nationwide marriage equality. This stuff means a lot to me, and I'm very thankful that Obama did this. I mean, he did so much for LGBT rights, so I'm definitely thankful. But I mean, when it comes to so many other issues, I'm not that impressed. Sure, we have Obamacare now, and it's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. I want universal health care. We have, the economy's better, but income inequality has not improved at all. It's, in fact, worsened under Obama. So, I mean, we have some half steps taken, but what I really was I wanted to hear something that would kind of put my mind at ease. I don't know. I felt as though, everything was lackluster. That's probably more on me than Obama, because I thought that Obama was energetic. As usual, he's a charismatic speaker. But just for me personally, I just kind of feel burnt out with Obama at the end of his 8th year because I was so hopeful and whatnot, as I stated. But he didn't deliver on what he wanted. Now, not all of that is to Obama's fault. I mean, if you look at how he tried over and over again to close Guantanamo, I don't necessarily fault him for making that promise and not being able to follow through on it. But when you look at the fact that, George Bush left office with wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, as Obama leaves office, we're still in Iraq and Afghanistan. And furthermore, we are now entangled in more wars. Now we're in Syria. And as soon as Obama got into office, he ramped up the drone policy. And he had to scale it back because that led to the deaths of a ton of civilians in third world countries such as Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. So, I mean, I wouldn't have suspected that it would be the case that Obama would be leaving office while we are at war with 6 countries: Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. I mean, I would have thought a Democratic president would have ended this and brought all of our troops home. Now, that's not to say that I don't think we should be, attacking ISIS and whatnot and fighting terrorism. Of course, I think we should do that, but I feel as though we can do more to form a coalition, and we can kind of approach this with a more hands-off approach. But that's just me because I have a more non-interventionist, pacifist orientation when it comes to foreign policy. But overall, I would have never guessed that in 2008 that, we'd be sitting here in 2016 with, a new president about to take office with these same wars still in place. It's just really disheartening to me. So what I really was hoping for was Obama to kind of go out with a bang, right? I wanted him to endorse a policy that is so progressive. It would set the stage not just for the presidential election, but for the next presidency. I mean, if he would have said, look, Obamacare was a step in the right direction, and I'm proud of my policy, but I think that we now need to look forward and try to get actual nationwide universal healthcare. If he did something like this, I feel as though my faith in him would have been restored, because I think that, what the president says has a lot of weight. So he could potentially set the stage. I mean, Hillary Clinton would now be forced to acquiesce and jump onto that plan. I mean, he could have said, look, I am now endorsing a $15 nationwide minimum wage. That would have done a ton. But with Obama, I feel as though we got a lot of half measures. And it's just, he's proven that he's not really that progressive when it comes to a lot of areas. In fact, he's quite conservative. Now, let me say that the Republicans, they seriously the petulance is just infuriating, because, the things that Paul Ryan chose not to clap at, like when it comes to gerrymandering and getting money out of politics, Paul Ryan did not clap for that, you know what I mean? Because obviously he benefits from the corruption, he benefits from gerrymandering as well as his party. And when Obama talked about, we need to limit money in politics, that's not enough. Here's where, my example of half measures comes into play. No, we need to get money completely out of politics. I'm tired of corruption. The entire Democratic Party is corrupt. So when you talk about how, your associates from the Democratic Party in Congress hate fundraising, then why don't you come together and have campaign finance reform? You can end it. You don't hate it that much, obviously, because you're still doing it. So, I don't know. I feel frustrated overall with Obama. He's going to leave office with a bad taste in my mouth. Now, I think over the years, as I kind of reflect on it, I'll view him more favorably. But for now, while he's still in office, I'm definitely disappointed. So, look, overall, credit where credit is due. He has created jobs. We were hemorrhaging jobs at 800,000 per month when Bush left office, and now we have millions of new jobs created. The economy is doing better, but there's still these really substantial issues such as income inequality that weren't addressed that I thought should have been. So overall, I'm not gonna grade Obama's presidency, but I will say that I think the feelings that I'm kind of discussing tonight, it stems from, an inherent disappointment in his presidency. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know if I'm being too much of a pessimist, but I don't know. I just kind of feel as though I'm ready for some real change.